One of the hardest things that I've found to do is defining boundaries. When you're an avowed people pleaser, as I have been, you want people to like you. You know, I've wanted people to like me, to accept me, to acknowledge me. And all the time I've been looking for other people to do that, which obviously is a very, very dangerous thing to do, because it just leaves you at people's whims, at people's mercy all the time. And frankly, I've been in a lot of very tight binds with people because I've wanted them to accept me for the way that I am and include me, but I've not been doing it myself, you know. So there's a latent hypocrisy in the actions that I've taken with a lot of people. And I'm learning this lesson, that learning to say no is a fantastic way of defining boundaries. But also, when you've interacted with people in whatever way, whether it's personal, business, that when you actually provide feedback to them, you do it honestly. And I've been nervous about doing that as well. But there's been a recent interaction that I've had with somebody, and basically the relationship is coming to an end. And I've been rather, not harsh, but I've been rather forthcoming and direct with this person, letting them know what my experience of the interaction has actually been. And it's been positive, but there have been certain things that I've learnt I would never do with potential coaching clients. And funnily enough, this is quite exciting, actually, very exciting, that as I've been out on my walk today, somebody has actually scheduled a discovery call with me, and it's very exciting. It's nerve-wracking. I don't know what to expect, so it's an adventure. But the incredible thing is that by being consistent for, a reasonable amount of time, but not particularly long amount of time, that you can get enormous results, and you can prove to yourself that the process can actually work and does work. And it's miraculous, really. And it just shows that when you use all this incredible technology that we have at our fingertips, what you can actually do with it, what you can achieve, the influence that you can have, the difference that you can actually make to people. And when you get decisive in life, okay, there are decisions that are easy to make, whether I'm going to buy a particular thing or not. Then that stuff is easy, you know, there's not that much emotional investment in that. But when you're talking about interactions with human beings, I notice that I qualify quite a lot of the things that I say, but I never want to sound mercenary, but the truth is I'm looking for coaching clients. Part of it is to achieve financial gains, you know, but what you have to learn in life is that you need to, and this is where the mercenary part in my head kicks in, the fear of being mercenary, that you have to train people how to treat you. It's a very dangerous thing to rely on, giving you a different view. It's very, very dangerous to rely on people having common sense, that they'll automatically know how you want to be treated. And you have to tell people, you have to let them know what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable. And frankly, you have to hold them to account. Give them the honest details of how your interactions with them have worked for you. Let them know. And frankly, in the long run, you'll be doing them a favor. You'll really be doing them a favor. And you'll be benefiting yourself by being brave enough to, and honest enough to be willing to tell people how you feel. And for me, that's still an enormous challenge. But the more that I do it, the better I feel. Because when people talk about rules, they're not really talking about rules. They're talking about their preferences, which is fine. We all have our needs and wants and desires, and we all have our unique perspectives. But if a rule is a rule, then it needs to be applied evenly. And what you'll find is most people will, no matter what situation they're in, they will want their own way. Always assume this about people. It's a very safe assumption. There's only a handful of people that are able to actually have an adult to adult conversation. Most people have not grown up, and this is people of all ages and all backgrounds. You'll see it, that when you are honest with people, if they can take it on the chin and they can actually have an open discussion about it, well, then you know that you've found a friend, you've found an adult. Most people are not that way. So if people are allowed, if people tell you honestly their point of view, you are perfectly entitled to do the same. I've said this before, but we're constantly looking for permission for things that we don't need permission for. It's your life. You decide how you live it. And I remind myself of this all the time. And the more I remind myself, it's like with the booking that I've had for the discovery call tomorrow. If you stick with something and you see the results coming, you get edified, you get bolstered, and you realize that anything is possible. And it is absolutely possible for you to say what you feel without recrimination, without people judging you incessantly. It is absolutely fine for you to say how your experience of whatever it is that you're involved in is working for you. And if that garners a hostile response from people, simple, open and genuine honesty, if you can't do that with people, then you can relegate that person to your past. You do not need that shit. It does no good for either party. And in the long run, when you are honest and you say, well, this and this worked, but, didn't particularly like that. That wasn't particularly reasonable for how we're working together. And this can go for any relationship. Then question things. Don't be afraid to. Most people don't like questions because they don't like feedback about themselves. They like giving it, can't take it. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't waste your time and your energy. Again, cherry pick. Take from it what is really powerful and really positive, and for the rest of it, you do not owe people things who you can't be honest with. It's a rule. It's a really good rule to live by, because boundaries, saying no, is the only possible way that you can tell people how to treat you. What is acceptable? What is not acceptable? Stick to it, because it's how you start as a human being to value yourself, to trust yourself, to grow confidence and resilience, and to know that you are worthy of respect.